Hello, my name is Mary, and this is my no-buy year. You would never guess, looking at this beautiful view, that is now 2 minutes till midnight, but it is. The Doomsday Clock is a visual metaphor created by scientists and updated annually. In January 2019, they advanced the clock 30 seconds. It is now 2 minutes to midnight. Fergus, come. Good boy. Good boy. Hello. As you have guessed from my intro, the thing I am interested in throwing together today is a Doomsday Clock look. A thematic look inspired by a combination of things. Number one, the more theatrical application of cosmetics and learning how to learning how to use makeup as a medium for that level of expression. Another inspiration is some of the color play I see on YouTube on channels such as Melissa Gold's channel. In particular, she has a collaboration that she put together with Skin Chronicity. With that said, in January of each year, a group of scientists gets together to determine the geopolitical state of the globe. And they put together their response and illustrate it with a doomsday clock. Essentially, the face of the clock represents the span of human life on this planet, with midnight representing doomsday, if you will, or a mass extinction. Prior years, of course, they've been doing this since roughly the 70s, I believe, possibly earlier than that. They track things like nuclear proliferation and that type of thing. But unique to their analysis, beginning in 2018, when they moved the clock forward to 2 minutes to midnight, they started tracking other concerns, things like emerging technologies. And this year in 2019, they specifically expand that third category of emerging technology, disruptive technologies, things like CRISPR, which discoveries that have enabled us to go into the human gene and surgically extract elements and replace those elements, in effect creating designer babies, curing diseases. Clearly, these technological advances have both positive and negative impacts on humanity. This year, unique to their analysis, they added another category under technology, and that is something you hear about increasingly today. That is, and I really wish I could sort of do what I'm wanting to do and talk at the same time, but I'm not sure that I can. That thing that is new in 2019 is the risk posed by exponential advances in artificial intelligence and the coming and eventuality, perhaps, of artificial intelligence surpassing human intelligence. That's a topic that we're also working with in the classroom, preparing for the ACT essay. So I thought it was appropriate to put together a doomsday look as a theatrical dip into, again, the theater of identity, it's an act of, I suppose, of civil disobedience. If we could all get enough momentum to band together and do something like this. Of course, I understand my little voice is utterly insignificant. I'm just trying to have fun with my collection and perhaps push it to some limits that on an ordinary workday I would never approach. So this is a fairly standard workday look. I do not have my glasses on. I'm not going to wear them because they will blind you by reflecting the ring light. But I am interested in taking this daytime look, which is comprised mostly of a Tom Ford stick foundation base, Play-Doh powder. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in a Palette Smoky Eye palette on my eye in the crease, and on my lids I have her Eyes to Mesmerize in the color Jean, which is a lovely champagne gold. Cheeks, I just have the blushes from the Tilbury palette. I will hold those up because I sort of rushed through that. And I am using this as my highlighter, and I have something very similar to this. I have the Bobbi Brown Stone Street as my bronzer. So the first thing I feel I need to do for this look is flatten out my face just a little bit. I have kind of a normal warm coloring, so I'm interested in going in with a cooler contour shade, and I will do that now. And I am using my Kevyn Aucoin face palette in the, I'll start out with just the medium contour palette. I love this contour. If I had a stick contour, and actually I do have a Benefit Hoola contour. I may pull that out if I need to go a little deeper. I'm not sure how cool this is, but I just want to hollow out those cheeks a little bit. Second thing I would like to do is swallow up the gold shimmer on my lid with a dark shade, and for that I'm going to dip into my Pat McGrath palette. To blow out my eyes, I will be using predominantly 3 shades. I'll be using the Extreme Black. I will blend out a transition from the black smoky eye that will swallow up most of my eye socket with the VR Violet, and then I will run a highlight down my lid and lower lid with this Astral White. I am using just a simple double-sided synthetic brush because I am at the end of the process. I will top it with a glossy eye look, and I will be using a generic petroleum jelly for that final step. It will really require, I'm considering packing this on with my finger. All right, that will be a better look. I want this to be deep. I'm not going all the way into the eye socket. With the other side of that two-sided brush, I will go into the VR Violet and transition from the flat black up to my brows with some overlap. And some windshield wiper motions to blend that out. You can already see some of the iridescence. This is where things get messy. I have a dollop of generic petroleum jelly, which I am just going to put on the back of my hand. And I will try to remember to wipe that off before I get it all over myself. I think you can see that start to wake up on my lid. Now I'm concentrating it, patting and rolling, and trying not to lift the product underneath it. To maximize the iridescence and to keep the pigment as intense as I can. I hope some of you are interested in attempting something along these lines, because many of you have much more interesting collections to begin with than I do. I feel handicapped in that I started my no-buy year with a fairly tame collection. I will add a little bit of that under my eye. To ratchet up the drama of the look. And as a final touch, I'm using just a flat eye brush from Real Techniques to go into that VR violet and hit the inside corner of my eye. Now at this stage, I'm ready for the highlight color Astral White, which I intend to use as a highlight down, straight down, crossing my upper lid, traversing my eyelashes, and picking up again on my lower eyelid and cheek. I think you will see the beauty of these Pat McGrath palettes. I'm being very careful to wipe off my brush before I dip back into that pigment, so as not to pollute my palette with petroleum jelly. Okay, that is some of the color payoff from that duochrome. Now 90% of the time a palette like this is truly wasted on me because I don't push these more dramatic looks very often. There just aren't many opportunities. I am sponsoring the anime club, and I really adore those students. They are creative and kind and very interested in culture, and just a great group of individuals. So I'm hoping that they will want to do something along the lines of cosplay, and I feel that that is right in line with their creative geniuses. So who knows, I may have some opportunity to fulfill that inspiration of my own. We shall see. Of course, I could just join my own cosplay organization, but honestly, who has the time? feel that this lid is a little more like an oil slick, where this lid is slightly more defined in overall effect. So I'm just going to go back in and tap on, really pack on some of that pigment. I also did not do a great job lining that highlight up as it crossed my eyelashes. To truly finish off this look, I would need to do something along the lines of false lashes and some glaring highlight on my cheeks. So let me see what I can push with the product I have. This is a liquid highlighter called Hello Halo. I cannot read who the manufacturer is, but I will link that below. And I'm just going to hit, oh, well, that's very pink, isn't it? Other than I'm making a mess. All right, I also do not have a very inky lip color, so the deepest I could go is this Clinique Pop lipstick in Berry Pop, and it's more berry than burgundy. All right, let's do something with that highlight on my face. I'm just using a Sephora brush, which came with my Sephora Rouge, and tapping that in. I feel that the look would be better if this were really a dark, grungy, cool. I could attempt to bring some of that black around, but in the past when I've experimented with that, it has just looked like I've thrown mud at my face, so I'm not going to do that. All right, so there is my Doomsday look. It is, I will attempt to line it up with one of my inspiration photos. Sorry, I did not write down whose Instagram account this is and do not know who the original artist was. Leave me a comment in the comments below, and I would love to see what your interpretation is of an apocalyptic look or a doomsday clock look. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do say hello if you're doing a no-buy in 2019. I would love to connect with you. Don't forget to do something kind for yourself, especially if that involves not buying a thing. Ciao.